Gray cooling paste leaked from my sensory ridges as the plating shattered. The air in the test valley should have smelled of clean plasma and sharp ozone. Instead, it choked us with the thick, dirty stink of ancient kerosene. No alarms rang. No warning flashed. No machine survived. A 3-ton block of Trixium armor broke open down the lane. The automated system screamed. A red light flashed across my screen, tracking a heat spike of almost 5,000 degrees. I logged the anomaly, but what she did next broke our Empire's laws of war. 2 hours earlier, the firing lane looked completely different. Firing lane dominant 3 sat deep inside the Torvandi megastructure. The stone walls shook without stopping. Heavy chemical vapor hung in the air like a wet blanket. 19,000 plasma rounds fired every second in the lower ranges. The noise did not just hurt your ears. It broke your bones. We built this place to crush weak bodies and test the strong. The rules of the Empire were simple. All soldiers had to use magnetic shields. No bare flesh could survive the shock waves of the testing floor. In the last 5 days, 34 elite recruits had collapsed here. Their insides turned to liquid from the raw sound pressure. Then Rian Drake walked in. She stood at Station 4. She was 65 kilograms of soft skin and thin bone. She wore no armor. She had no energy shield. A faded gray jacket hung loosely on her shoulders. A dark grease line marked the skin under her left collarbone. Next to the towering weapon racks, she looked like a dry leaf waiting to be crushed. In her right hand, she held a small metal box. It was a scratched chrome lighter. The wheel clicked open and shut 6 times. The tiny spark fought the giant air scrubbers, flashing bright against the gray fog. It was a completely useless tool here. I watched the lane from my high booth. My gelatin body absorbed the harsh sound waves. Next to the human, a giant insect soldier shook violently. His green blood leaked from his arm joints. He held a heavy magnetic rifle, but the recoil made his shell crack. 2 lanes down, a 4-armed gunner dropped his weapon and fell to his knees. The sound pressure in the room was simply too high. The Empire did not care about pain. You passed the test or you died trying. The human did not shake. She just stood there. She put the lighter in her pocket. She raised her right hand and cracked her thumb joint. Once, twice. The sound was very small, but my microphones caught it. War Master Kontavsh walked down the line. He stood 9 foot tall. Heavy black armor covered his wide chest. 4 eye stalks twitched above his thick head. They moved fast, scanning the room for failure. He had killed 800 men in border wars. He trusted numbers. He trusted the cold math of his thick armor plates. He stopped behind Station 4. He looked down at the human weapon. It rested on the concrete bench. It was long and ugly. It was made of dead wood and dark iron. It had no glowing power source. It had no digital sights. "Your tool is dead," the War Master said. His voice box buzzed with deep static. "It has no battery. Cannot push energy." Rian did not look at him. She ran a bare finger over the cold iron barrel. "It does not need a battery," Rian said. "It uses physics." Kontavsh laughed. The sound was like heavy rocks grinding together. He lifted his thick arm. He pointed to the far end of the lane. A massive block of Trixium alloy sat in the dust. It weighed 3 tons. It was built to stop starship guns. It absorbed heat and laughed at lasers. "Our math is perfect," the War Master said. "Your tiny lead rocks will bounce off. You will fail." My screens flashed bright yellow. I checked the human's health numbers. The data made no sense. The room roared with deafening noise. Giant alien soldiers died on the floor around her. But her pulse was dropping. Fell fast. It dropped right into a deep sleep state. It was not calm. It was a predator waiting for the machine to stop making excuses. Rian reached into her pocket. She pulled out the scratched lighter again. She flipped the metal lid. A small yellow flame danced in the heavy air. She lifted the rifle. She held the small fire under the front metal sight. The flame painted the iron black with soot. The thick carbon blocked the harsh glare of the room lights. It was a simple trick. It was a dirty trick pulled from a time before lasers existed. She snapped the lighter shut. She set it on the bench. She picked up a heavy brass shell from her pocket. It held a thick lead bullet at the tip. She slid it into the side of the dark rifle. She grabbed the metal handle on the side. She pushed the bolt forward and locked it down. The heavy iron parts hit each other. A loud, sharp clack rang out. I zoomed in on her hands. They did not shake at all. Not even a fraction of a millimeter. Your system measures the thickness of the plate, Rian said. Her voice was flat and totally bored. You left out some of the math. You forgot to calculate what happens when the hand holding the match stays perfectly still. Catron Tavsh crossed his massive arms. He held a clear glass screen in his left hand. Green numbers scrolled across it. He watched the armor density metrics. The Trixium block was built perfectly. The Empire spent billions to make it flawless. No unshielded soldier had ever scratched it. Fire when ready, human, he said. His 4 eyes stared hard at her back. Show me your failure. Rian lifted the heavy wood stock. She pressed it tight against her right shoulder. She leaned her head down. She rested her cheek on the dark wood. She closed her left eye. She looked through the black sight. My sensors watched her chest move. She took a slow breath. She let half of it out into the cold air. Then she stopped breathing entirely. The loud lane went quiet for a fraction of a second. The big guns stopped firing down the line. It was just a random break in the noise. In that tiny silence, I heard her bare finger touch the curved metal trigger. I saw the thick steel spring tighten inside the gun. A cold wave of fear moved down my jelly spine. We built our empire out of light. We used pure energy. We forgot about physical weight. We forgot about dirt, fire, and raw force. The human weapon was incredibly old. It was basically a metal pipe with a hammer. But it was built to do one single thing without failing. The metal hammer fell hard. A mechanical pop cracked through the heavy air. Define, Rian whispered. She breathed. She aimed. She fired. She pulled the bolt back. She pushed it forward. She pulled the trigger again 5 times in 3 seconds. The loud bangs hit my audio sensors like hard punches. The heavy brass shells flew out of the side of the gun. They spun in the air, trailing thin lines of gray smoke. Down the lane, the automated telemetry screamed. The massive Trixium block took the first hit. Dead in the center, a tiny hole appeared. The lead bullet did not bounce away. It hit with such focus speed that the thick armor simply melted. A sharp thermal bloom spiked to almost 5,000 degrees. The second bullet hit the exact same spot. Then the third. Then the fourth. The giant metal block groaned loudly. Microscopic cracks spread out from the center hole. The 5 impacts linked together deep inside the steel. They created a massive fault line inside the perfect armor. The math simply fell apart. The giant slab split right in half. The top piece slid off, crashed down onto the concrete floor. A huge cloud of gray dust flew high into the air. My screen flatlined. The green numbers on the War Master's pad turned red. Then his glass screen cracked down the middle. Rian lowered the smoking rifle. She reached out her bare hand without looking. She caught the last hot brass shell right out of the air. She closed her fist around the burning metal. Her face looked completely empty. Before the dust even settled, 2 senior proctors walked out the back door and quit their jobs forever. Total acoustic silence fell over the huge valley. The giant guns stopped firing. The air scrubbers powered down. No one spoke a single word. Catron Tavsh stared at the broken metal block. His 4 eye stalks stopped moving. They froze in place. His heavy black armor rattled loudly. His thick knees shook under his weight. He slowly opened his left hand. The broken glass pad fell. It hit the floor and shattered into 100 sharp pieces. Nobody set off a base alarm. The military leaders did not ask for a formal review. They just buried the reports deep in the system. Within 2 days, the High Command changed all the rules. They took all old kinetic tools off the junk lists. They named them restricted planetary threats. The galaxy did not rewrite its laws because she brought a strange weapon. They rewrote them because she brought an old habit. 7 weeks passed. The firing lane stayed empty. The broken block was cleared away. A tall glass box sat in the center of the main hall. A strong vacuum field kept the air out. The scarred chrome tool rested inside. Its cold metallic reflection cast a long shadow across 300 broken tactical manuals.